guys always like that part the best, right? We're crazy about our wives.
We love our wives.
But we're just crazy about our wives.
Oh, man. I know my 4 kids are crazy as well. But I love them.
I'm laughing on the inside, guys.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Entrepreneurial Family Man Podcast. We are 4 guys who are crazy about our wives. We love our kids, and we want to thrive in business. We know we can have it all if we're very intentional about each of those things. And so, hey, today we are going to talk about work. Sometimes, can we just say it? Sometimes work sucks. Is that okay to say? Do we need to rate
man. Mike Diego listens to this podcast, so he's going to be like, I can say the word sucks. Uncle Chris Niemeyer says it.
Yeah, I think I might have said it a few episodes back, and my kids caught that too. I was like, don't say that.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you use a word for effect sparingly, so it really drives a point home. And I think that's what we're doing today, is driving a point home about work.
Yeah. So, Diego, you're allowed to use that word if you're driving a point home, and if you're just throwing it around, you're going to be punished.
Yeah, for all you McCluskey kids, we don't talk that way. That's the Niemeyer family.
Oh man, I am feeling totally guilty right now. I think we need to edit this out.
But sometimes work has a lot of stuff that you really, really, really hate doing, and you still got to do it.
You do. I mean, come on. We've all heard that analogy that as an entrepreneur, you wear many hats. Guess what? Some of them are uncomfortable. Some of them don't fit very well. So how do you deal with that? Jamie, you're wearing a beautiful hat right now that looks like it was knit from someone. I mean, there's a good example. It doesn't really fit, doesn't look good on you, but hey.
Diego made this for me. I had Diego make this one because in that movie, The Christmas Story, the one with Jim Carrey, he goes to sleep in one of these. So it's my sleeping hat.
Michael, how do you deal with this though? Seriously, because you are 7. You enjoy adventure and fun.
So you want me to be honest here? Because I don't think it's going to be that helpful.
Yes, I do.
All right. Well, I let things build up. I wait till they get to the point where if I don't do something bad's going to happen. And then I just tackle it all at once.
Like, what do you let build up?
Organizing my receipts to send them off to my accountant, doing my plans in my calendar, making sure everything's laid out and I know what's coming up. Basically anything that has to do with organization, planning, spreadsheets, anything in that world, I just let it build up and then wait till it gets bad and then I tackle it on one day.
I'm the same way.
You're the same way?
This is a safe place.
What does it look like for you, Jamie?
I hope like an IRS agent isn't listening to this episode. I have this nifty app on my phone. It's called Mileage IQ. I'm supposed to what? What's so funny?
I can
Listen carefully. You can hear the plane going.
This is going. There's black helicopters over my house right now. Yeah.
So that's enough about that. What about you guys?
Tell me. I want to hear about Mileage IQ.
Okay, so the Mileage IQ thing. I'm supposed to reconcile every 3 to 4 days, so it's like legit in real time. I got all the drives from November, October that have not been reconciled. Just like Michael's invoices and receipts to his accountant. Oh my gosh, these Chris Niemeyer is giving me the naughty sign here on the screen. It would be so much easier if I could just schedule some of those admin things every week and do them instead of letting it pile up, because it's kind of glaring at me sitting over there. And I do the same thing with the photography equipment that I have to send out.
Almost an artificial deadline to get yourself motivated to get it off your table.
Yeah, it's forced. Just like you have 84 drives on your Mileage IQ that you need to classify. I'm like, well, if it gets to 100, I can't go back and even remember where I was going. So I have to do that.
Jerry, I used to feel shame at operating that way, and just hearing you talk about that actually brings me some comfort, because
Thanks.
like I've kind of like let myself off the hook, because I've tried the other way of being very responsible and scheduling everything out and doing it on a regular basis, and it just doesn't work for me. So I switched back to the other way. So I'm glad there's somebody else like me. on this call anyway.
I want to know about McCluskey's emails.
Oh, you do. I was afraid that was going to come back up here.
Uh-oh. Wait. How many do you have in your inbox right now?
Well, you know what? It's way below the 10,000 when I hit bankruptcy there.
There you go.
It is. It's down actually just a little bit below 7,000 now. So, oh yeah. Okay. Hey, 31,226 is what Jamie said.
Oh, Jamie, you win, man. You win.
Oh,
So talk about that, Chris. What's the inbox thing?
yeah, I hit what I would consider to be inbox bankruptcy when I topped 10,000 emails sitting still in my box. Many of them not opened. Obviously, the majority of them having been opened but not acted upon yet.
So that's like the opposite of inbox zero, right? It's like inbox bankruptcy.
Inbox bankruptcy, yes. I will never see inbox zero in my life. It's that I overthink and respond too much in emails. Don't seem to be mastering the art of the 5-sentence response. I write a tome when I'm writing an email. So especially if somebody asks me a really profound question or has a really heartfelt struggle or wants prayer for whatever, it sits in there, which has the undesired effect of then seeming to communicate like I don't care. Yeah, a lot of stuff just piles up, and eventually over years, that's when I declared bankruptcy. So I've done some very draconian cuts, and I am just below 7,000 remaining.
Oh,
That's
man.
called progress.
This needs to be like an EFM product that we give out that I'll be the first one to buy it. Come out of the cold with your emails and start from ground zero.
Well, you know what? I actually did have my COO, Susan Fleming. She has full access to my inbox, so she sees it, and she ribs me about it all the time. She will float them back to the top, but she actually gave me some tips and pointers on how to do some cleanup. Yeah, that's some of how I got those 3,000 or so out real quickly, was started sorting by the subject or by the person or organization or whatever, and was able to go through and, I mean, frankly, you don't clear out thousands by opening them and reading them. You clear them out by identifying them in a cluster and going, yeah, okay, you know what? That thing is just, I'm not likely to ever go back to that. So maybe send an email to cover others and then just delete a whole bunch of them. But yeah,
I'm going to delete all of them, I think.
So this episode...
It could take a few weeks, right?
I've heard of a guy who did that. He just he got over 10,000 emails, and he completely declared bankruptcy at 10,000, and he just dumped them all.
I need to do that. I'm scared.
That sounds amazing.
Old, yeah.
McCluskey, I was born in Buffalo. Can you define draconian for me?
They were really radical, scary, big, awful, horrible kinds of things.
Okay.
Draconian, yeah.
Thanks.
So
Carry on.
This episode is sponsored by Unroll Me, unroll.me. Download it today, and it will help your inbox. Seriously, though, if you have not heard of unroll.me, go look it up, and it will help improve your inbox immensely, and the subscriptions and how to automate so much of that stuff that you wish you could delete. It'll do it for you.
It doesn't go back and delete it.
Unroll Me, we will be invoicing you for this. So I got to share one here because this whole topic came up because something last weekend happens. You know, with one of my companies, Mission Travel, we go and we exhibit and sponsor at several conferences a year. I put a great team together. They're great at what they do. I don't have someone on my team just yet who's really great salesperson in person, like in the flesh, at a conference, table all day. So I did that. And I think at one point I had a break with Jamie. I just said, you know what? I am dying. I am dying here. I don't want to do this again. This is part of my work that I don't love. It just kind of brought this idea together that there are tasks, right? There are hats that we wear that are just scratchy and uncomfortable. And this is one of them. So whether it's your email hat or your organization hat, I mean, what else works or does not work for you guys?
I'm not the most organized person, but I love working off of a list. It's magical for me to write it down and then find quick wins. These tedious tasks that seem unimportant, but when you run out of paper in your printer, your business kind of stops. You need to send invoices, and we do homeschool. We print out stuff for that. Again, I hope the IRS guy doesn't know that we use that business printer for homeschool stuff too. I'm going to get audited.
I have such guilt in my life in this area. At the end of every day, I feel like I didn't get anything done. I just kind of have that feeling of I didn't quite get everything I wanted to get done. Even on days where I'm pretty productive, I still have that feeling. One thing I've been doing recently that's been helpful for me, just asking myself this question: what would need to get done for me to feel like this day was a win? Like I won the day if this stuff got done. And so I've just kind of been jotting down every day what the answer to that question is. If I got this, and this done today, I would feel good about today. And I'm stumbling through that process, but it helps a lot because it helps me focus on like what's important about today. How will I even know if this was a good day? That's something that's helped me a little bit.
Yeah, that's good. It's kind of like your big things that you want to check off and get done, and you feel a sense of ownership. You did it. You slayed that dragon.
Yeah.
I guess it's important in thinking about this conversation to go back to the reality that although we're all laughing about all the things that we let slide and they pile up and they certainly they weigh us down emotionally when that stack of stuff is sitting there screaming for us. The reality is that we all are all for working very successful businesses in spite of, and maybe it's even because of, our willingness to live with some of this ongoing tension that there are certain things that we hate to do. And I don't think there's a human being ever been born that doesn't procrastinate on something, no matter what their personality. I don't care how type A they are. They procrastinate on some things. They don't love to do everything, and it's not fun to follow an order and a system for every single task in life, no matter how you feel about it. You have emotions. So sometimes procrastination can actually be good, because if it weren't for pushing off some other pressing thing, maybe the other things that we're using to procrastinate would never get done. Who knows? But the reality is that some of what I think we're talking about is that it's an inherent part of working an effective business. The challenge to us as business owners then is to figure out, okay, is there a better way? Is there a way I could systematize or delegate, dump this thing that I just keep stepping over, trying to work around, wishing I didn't have to deal with and avoiding it? Is there something else that I could do more proactively while I still keep moving forward on all the stuff that I'm very, very stoked about?
Yeah, that's a good point, Chris, because I think as entrepreneurs, even if you're not an entrepreneur, sometimes you think like, boy, if I could just work for myself, that would be awesome. There'd probably be, I could create the best job, and role and responsibility for my own business, not have to do this other junk. Let's be frank. The reality is the discussion we're having, we've created these businesses. They're bringing in profit. They're producing what we want in our lives, but yet there's still stuff that we have to do. And so don't miss that point of, hey, no matter the business, there's going to be things. And I think that kind of brings us to point number 2 here of, if you could make a list of all the roles, all the jobs, all the tasks in your business, make a list of those. Just sit down and put pen to paper and say, okay, I've got to do this. I've got to do this. And then make a list of those that you like and those that you don't like. Start there in terms of, okay, if I get to a point, if I can't afford, if I bring a team together and outsource or delegate, what could this look like? I mean, guys, I know that around the screen here, we all have used VAs and employees, subcontractors. So, Michael, what was a point in your business where you were like, okay, this is getting out of hand and I could use some help here?
Taxes, just kind of the bookkeeping side of my business. I'd somebody who's a little bit more wired in a way that they understand numbers and taxes and spreadsheets and P&L statements and all that stuff. I mean, what would take them an hour could take me 8 hours. I could get lost in that world. And I used to try to do that myself. And after a while, I'm just like, what am I doing? I'm probably wasting thousands of dollars of my time getting buried in this stuff when I can just take this pile, give it to my CPA, and be done with it, all for a couple $100 a year. And so when I did that, it just brought a whole lot of peace to my life too, because I knew that that's what they did every day. That's what they were they were professionals in that realm, and I knew that like they could figure that out and do it quickly.
Yeah, that's good. The financial piece is a big headache for a lot of people. I remember when I first got to hire a bookkeeper, I was like, man, this is awesome. Someone is doing the books on a weekly basis now. Like, wash my hands, walk away. Mm-hmm. Jamie, what's it look like for you, man, with all the stuff you have going on with your business?
We hired a VA to do a lot of the buying for our company, which has really freed me up. And then I hired Jay Parks, who's also the CFO for you, right, Chris?
Yeah.
McCluskey?
PCCI, yeah, he's our CFO.
Yeah,
Great.
so Jay Parks does a lot of stuff, and I actually got audited last year, and they took care of all of it. And not only did they take care of it, but he took all the stress off my plate. The relationship I had with him, completely removed it just by calling me up and saying, I'm totally taking care of it. You're not going to be in trouble. This is the worst case scenario, and it's not even that bad. Talk me off the ledge. That, and then recently, Ruthie and I, we had a lady who was working in our camera photography business doing a lot of the work, and through a whole bunch of circumstances, she's no longer there. And now my children are starting to earn money by doing a lot of work in there. So we kind of, that expression, keep the money in the family. We're looking for opportunities for our children to add value by working in there. So Diego, Cecilia, Emilio, they're all setting up a Roth account this year, and they're getting paid to start a retirement. So how cool is that Amelia, who's 8 years old, will have a Roth account? He's going to be loaded when he's my age.
He's going to retire at 35.
Exactly.
I'll give you a formula that we teach at the Institute for helping people coach around this very issue of, not completing tasks and the ongoing burden of stuff that just doesn't get done, like my pathetic inbox or whatever else, somebody else's work that you really don't want to do, but it has to be done kind of thing is. The formula is the 4 Ds, like the letter D. Do it, delegate it, dump it, or discern it. Every single item on there is going to fit into one of those categories, and we're the one who gets to decide which category it most ideally fits in. One of the first hires I made in my very first business about 30 years ago was a bookkeeper. Unfortunately, bookkeeping was something she did in addition to answering phones and being a general assistant and secretary and that kind of stuff. So some of those tasks she did better than others. Bookkeeping was not her strong suit either. And she made one single error that was $7,000 to the not good side.
Ouch.
And yeah. So me having said, oh, good, well, I got that taken care of, but then not actually overseeing it. I didn't delegate it effectively. I abdicated it. I just said, I'm done, wash my hands, walk away. Really, really painful lesson there. We had to stagger, paying people out for payroll and all. It was not a pretty lesson, but it was a lesson I learned. I don't have to do that one. I don't have to pay somebody else to do that one. We don't need to do that anymore.
I wanted to tell you, McCluskey, that Niemeyer had just taken a nap before we jumped on this call. So when he was yawning, it had nothing to do with being bored with what you were saying.
I'm sure.
I always have an oxygen deficiency.
It's not personal, right? It's just your nap.
It is totally my
You get
nap.
2 work days in one. One in the morning and one in the evening.
Little 20, 25-minute cat nap every day is perfect.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's why I had to outsource and delegate some stuff so I could fit a nap in. Come on. No, but Chris, that's a really good a good system. There's some other people that have systems, similar to that of just delegating and figuring out what it is. How can you really outsource this stuff? I remember with Mission Travel and creating that company, really understanding after making that list like that of the don't likes and the likes of like, okay, there's just a few things that I really want to hone in on, and all these other roles and responsibilities I am ready to hire for. And I'll tell you what, just this last week, it was a good example. Prior to the weekend, we'd already talked about hiring a business development manager. It's already on Indeed.com. Like, that is something we're going to do, because just client relationships and those kind of in-person and other type of things that I want to create a role for that. And it's something that I say, you know what? This hat is too old for me right now. It's a little bit too tattered, and I'm ready to give this up.
I'm taking naps in the afternoon and getting old, and I got to give it up.
That's right.
I hear you, Chris. Oh, that's awesome, though. I mean, I'm pumped for you. I know what that's going to make possible for you. It's funny. Some of the most satisfying times of accomplishment that I've felt after a day are when I've knocked off all these things that I don't like doing. It's almost like when you work out before the weekend, you know you're going to have like a big steak and maybe even some donuts or something, and you get this really good workout in on Friday. It feels really good, even though you didn't love going to the gym and doing everything you need to do to get through it. It feels sweet when you knock off something that kind of bugs you a little bit. And I also think that like the things that you really enjoy doing get a little sweeter too, because that stuff's out of the way.
That's a good point, Michael. I mean, I think especially in this season of Thanksgiving that we're in, have an attitude of gratitude toward whatever it is, whatever tasks in our business, because let's remember this. You are the guy that came up with the idea for this business. You are the guy that created these roles and these tasks. Either fire yourself or be thankful for what you have, and know that as you're more aware of those, your mindset is going to shift a little bit on some of that. And as you grow, you can identify those tasks that you're ready to move forward on, delegate to someone else. And again, like Chris said, not abdicate it, but delegate it well, outsource it well. So just be thankful, because we know these type of tasks that we may not always love sometimes also produce the profit and the pleasure of running a business, being an entrepreneur, doing the things that we get to do with our wives and our kids. That's why we are an EFM guy. Keep the conversation going. Come visit us at efmlife.com. Jump in our Facebook group. We'd love to have you more engaged there and continue this conversation.
Thank you for listening to the Entrepreneurial Family Man Podcast. Visit efmlife.com to connect with us and others like you who are pursuing success in enterprise, family, and marriage.